Holy crap, what is that?
Brandon, you see this?
It's moving pretty fast.
I don't see any aviation lights on it at all.
I'm seeing the same thing from my end.
From the enigmatic happenings on this peculiar ranch to the extent that the odd location's current owner would go to show the evidence and the truth.
The evidence that we've been gathering, everything from videographic to photographic, correlated with electromagnetic anomalies in service to this effort, I challenge anyone to come up with a comparable effort or anything that even comes close to what we've been accomplishing out at Skinwalker Ranch.
What the owner of Skinwalker Ranch has to say knows the truth about the enigmatic Skinwalker Ranch.
It was compelling evidence that we're dealing with an intelligence on the ranch that has the ability to manipulate technology and systems and has the ability to communicate and has intention. There's volition.
For a number of decades, individuals have been wondering exactly what is taking place at Skinwalker Ranch, a piece of land covering 512 acres in the Uintah Basin within Utah. Although it may appear to be any other wild ranch, numerous individuals have been unable to ignore the bizarre activities that continue there.
This is in broad daylight. This is a physical UFO with the reflection off of one side, glinting off of it, captured all on
like
video.
It's metallic or something.
Yeah.
If it isn't the odd appearance of unknown flying items that move in and out of the enigmatic ranch, it's the awe-inspiring forces that have been felt throughout the region.
There is literally a disc-like object, and all of a sudden that object changed position 50 feet to the left in the blink of an eye, and then a few seconds later it was reduced to a dot. It was like a bullet darting off in the distance and was gone. That experience changed my entire worldview. My paradigm shifted.
This clearly calls for some explanation. That is exactly what Travis S. Taylor and the group have been trying to figure out, the secrets answers of the TV show Skinwalker Ranch. One of the things Travis and his group did was content, during the course establish a relationship, is one of these investigations, with the multi-millionaire owner, Brandon Fugal, of the enigmatic ranch.
People ask me all the time, Brandon Fugal, are you a believer now?
Yeah.
The owner of Skinwalker Ranch. And I tell them, no, I'm not a believer. I'm an experiment.
The fan of UFOs is also constantly seeking explanations for the bizarre events that occur on his ranch, in addition to the mysterious events that he and a lot of other people have seen on the ranch. As a consequence of this, Brandon Fugal appears to has been successful in locating some of the answers to the numerous Skinwalker Ranch secrets. Naturally, this raises the question, what has this billionaire entrepreneur learned anything about this enigmatic ranch? Could it be the secrets that government agencies do not wish for the general public to be aware of? It seems pretty clever when you think about it. Now, if the government really wants to conceal the truth from the world, they will have to put in a lot of effort, because for quite some time, Skinwalker Ranch and its vicinity have been linked to the bizarre and illogical. One might believe that this is merely a problem of unconfirmed rumors, but repeatedly, visitors have discovered at the enigmatic ranch that some of the rumors are accurate subsequently to the eerie ranch, especially after they saw some strange things happen that transpired on the ranch itself.
Not to be taken lightly, and that's why we've kept the materials under lock and key. I think you'll understand soon why this is a matter of really the highest level of seriousness and sensitivity.
These are hornets that you've never had to deal with before.
For instance, while we've been discussing the presence of unknown aerial objects and the surges in radiation that have occurred in the region, we must also keep in mind why the name of the ranch seems so ominous. Skinwalker Ranch is appropriately named due to the numerous mutilated cattle that the ranch has been found to be littered with. What purpose do mutilated cattle serve, you might ask, under the name Skinwalker Ranch? After doing some research, your curiosity has grown. Could have learned that the Navajo tribe that was at this point on the land, long before the Mayflower reached the American continent. This tribe of Native Americans has been going through hauntings from a mythical creature that they recognized as the sinister Skinwalker. This dark demon that takes on new forms was said to be capable of transformation into all living things, including humans. And while this was already terrifying, this animal was known to cause destruction wherever it was found. It turned out that the mutilated cattle carcass was their fault. that can still be found on the ranch today. It's no wonder that these devious creatures gave the ranch their name. Today, these skeletons and numerous of strange happenings on the ranch are currently being used as hints to locate the supernatural's cause and ongoing paranormal manifestations on the enigmatic ranch. Fortunately, those with an interest in the events occurring on the bizarre ranch include the Society of Scientists. As a result, individuals such as Travis Taylor and his team have felt at ease among the numerous scientists, and those who have been invited to their camp as experts, in order for them to assist with solutions to the many unanswered questions about what's going on based in Skinwalker Ranch, with unmatched transparency and dedication to the cause that has grown as a result of this fascinating collaboration between the supernatural and science. One would discover that the scientific community has now a rather intriguing area of research to weaken. It must be noted that Skinwalker Ranch has made its doors accessible to everyone looking for numerous responses to questions that have not received a response. It would appear that these scientists were at the moment able to challenge conventional wisdom. Is this going to be bad for society? Or will this encourage a more extensive discussion about the events that have gone unreported in the world, as it is right now? At this point, it appears that these scientists are solely devoted to research, especially considering that research may provide the essential data required to unravel the ranch's many mysteries. If they succeed, it will result in promotion, a deeper comprehension of the anomalies that were discovered on the ranch, as well as the baffling occurrences that appear to occur there.
It takes courage to confront these topics. I believe as we brave that territory, as we have the courage to delve deeper, both literally and figuratively, into Skinwalker Ranch.
While these researchers continue their work on the ranch, their contributions cannot be ignored. By Mr. Brandon Fugal, a believer in the supernatural, Mr. Fugal paid no attention to back in 2016 when he became the ranch's owner. However, it needs to be mentioned that at the time he bought the ranch, in fact, he had no intention of conducting any of these investigations at all that we now observe on the ranch. Perhaps this was because of his upbringing. As a broker of real estate, consequently, it is thought that his initial focus on the real-world aspects of the ranch's ownership. He was therefore more focused on the ranch's potential to generate income, and even hoped to get some kind of clarification the details of any enigmatic rumors that could provide his newly acquired 512 acres a poor public reputation. He would soon find out that his brand new ranch was widely regarded as one of the world's most haunted locations. If that is not detrimental to business, what is impossible to predict. Despite how awful this may sound, there was no escaping it, because, as is now well known, the location has been the ranch. Of extensive theory and research, particularly to those who have claimed of everything from the presence to regarding UFOs on the ranch, to those who claimed to have interacted with baffling beings who were clearly in danger. Taking a look back at such data, it raises questions about Fugal's even learned about the ranch. Sure, it was making a name for itself. However, the unforeseen developments may have contributed to this. That took place in the life of Brandon Fugal in 1995. Fugal received an unexpected call at the time from an old acquaintance, a long-gone Mormon. Joe Firmage was the name of this Mormon friend, was in fact Novel's top executive as well, if you will, despite such a resume. What set Joe Firmage apart was that he was adamant about finding out the truth about the alleged hovering UFOs and away from the Skinwalker Ranch. It occurred during a session during which he boasted about his groundbreaking work with technology for anti-gravity that has the potential to transform human space exploration, that he finally drew the attention of Brandon Fugal. He was seduced by his curiosity, which made him wonder how the technology of space travel might develop in the future. Firmage's projects will receive millions of dollars from Brandon.
What we're working with is advanced propulsion technology that truly has not been released as of yet, and this patented technology and physics breakthrough is going to change the world as we know it.
Therefore, it was safe to say that the future appeared promising for the joint efforts of Firmage and Fugal. Sadly, this brightness would only last so long, for a brief amount of time. Despite being the result of a brilliant idea, Fugal only had to wait a few months to comprehend that Firmage's assertions were, at best, irrational and unfounded. What a pity, given that Fugal's dreams of creating a propulsion system against gravity out of this project appear to pass away so suddenly. This obviously swayed the winds. out of the sails of Fugal for some time. His close friends would soon discover that he was frustrated by the experience, despite having some paranoia as well, because he had no faith in his friends around him. What a mess for some time. However, Fugal would soon discover that he was unable to sit, and forever weep in sorrow, especially as he was about to witness a turning point in his life. In 2015, a few years later, Fugal's interests, his paranormal assistance appeared to have paved the way for the following phase. It seemed like this happened at the same time, in which Kit Green and Hal Puthoff, scientists who worked for the CIA, approached the billionaire businessman with a fascinating proposal that he probably never gave any thought to before: the purchase of the enigmatic ranch. This occurred during or around that Robert Bigelow owned the property, the real estate mogul who let people know that this location was a hotbed of supernatural activity. Bigelow had such faith in his fascination with the supernatural that it helped to establish a Pentagon program classified that was established solely to investigate the baffling happenings that were occurring on the enigmatic ranch. Clearly, this made the ranch look appealing to Fugal, and he got this close to him quickly, acquiring the ranch for himself. As a result of the endorsements from Green and Puthoff, this ranch was acquired fairly easily. Fugal claims Green and Puthoff informed him that the ranch could be purchased.
Fugal says Puthoff and Green told him that the ranch was for sale. Fugal flew to Las Vegas to meet with Robert Bigelow and discuss purchasing Skinwalker Ranch. On April Fool's Day 2016, Brandon Fugal became the official owner of Skinwalker Ranch,
thereby inaugurating a brand new chapter for the new owner of this enigmatic ranch. They only needed to assist Fugal in overcoming whatever doubts he might have had about owning the ranch. What he would ultimately discover is that doing so would only entice him further into the ranch's enigmatic mysteries. The typical task of a surveyor like Fugal, which was typically done so that someone could pay attention of Skinwalker Ranch's daily routine, changed strangely after a picture you are familiar with, the one of the Millennium Falcon, the legendary spaceship from Star Wars, flashed suddenly on the screen while Fugal was present. Even though it might sound amazing, this acted as a storyteller, where Fugal's dissatisfaction exists with some of the project's components would only drive him further into an unknown realm of possibilities. Despite the image's strangeness, the night's mystery grew even more puzzling when they took the shot of the surrounding area ended up providing an incredible amount of information in the videos and pictures that were taken in that particular moment. Fugal was compelled by the numerous details provided by this and his team to examine a great deal of flight data. What attracted even more attention to them in the things they were observing was how similar it was to flight data, and it sparked a desire for self-assurance in them amid a constant state of uncertainty, despite the aforementioned ambiguity. Additionally, this appeared to be some kind of a driving force behind their cause. Fugal quickly realized he needed to know everything, that this ranch was in question, at least everything that was available right now. He and his team were able to construct a framework quickly for a more in-depth look at what was happening.
This is the most unique science project of its kind, because we verified and documented that some of the most disturbing, unexplained events in the past decades, if not hundreds of years, have occurred on this property.
That sounds exciting and maybe even a little bit scary, right?
After a while, the team got another call. That came with a fascinating image of an object that appeared to be engulfed in flames on Homestead 1. These pictures, in addition to their departure based on what the team believed to be their understanding regarding the issue at hand, served to make Brandon doubt himself a little more in his activities on the ranch. When the team reached its decision that this was not an isolated incident, but in fact a component of a larger pattern, it rekindled some interest in the subject. Therefore, even Fugal, a person that was typically careful in all matters, particularly with regard to the phenomena pertaining to the ranch, discovered that he now had an unusual interest as well in what was once more taking place. As important as this moment was to Fugal and the group, things took a turn for the worse when a respected doctor, connected to the notorious Area 51, revealed what turned out to be a long-standing wish to get to the enigmatic Skinwalker Ranch. As one might expect, this turned out to be a fun time for Fugal and the ranch's other inhabitants. He found the ranch's physician quickly. He had come with the 2 experienced security guards that were hired so that the doctor could stay in the safety of his child while he worked tirelessly on the ranch. Even though this visit was interesting, everyone, including Fugal, was aware of the significance of this visit because it might signal the start of a new day that would put the campers' beliefs to the test. in ways that they had no idea were possible.
One of the things that excites me the most about this ranch and the investigation team and doing this research is what if? That's the big thing. What if some of it's real? What if this really is an answer to one of the big questions that Brandon had? Maybe we'll get some insight.
By caregivers who had a good understanding about the mysterious ranch's past. Fortunately, the visitors were able to apply the knowledge in order to make some sense of these caregivers of the ranch's enigmatic mysteries. The recording tools further enhance this, that they utilized to document their experience while doing ranch work. Moving forward, the expedition's return proved to be a turning point in everyone's lives. The doctor described his encounters when they returned. To Fugal and others, the odd lights on the ranch, who must have been overjoyed at the prospect of an independent mind, was describing his own experiences as well. The fact that the doctor included him was hoping to receive the crucial explanation for what they had just seen in the outside world. He must have been absolutely thrilled by it. When the doctor said that the ranch was like the famous Area 51, that undoubtedly enhanced the atmosphere of mystery, and the eerie feeling that many people had who had ended up on the enigmatic ranch. The secret of the ranch is understandable, was the news every day for a long time, as the physician attempted to make sense regarding the events he had just witnessed. Certainly, the ranch's presence of a doctor, in addition to his professional security personnel, only serves to give credibility, which is needed, to what everyone else had said concerning the ranch's activities. As a result, Fugal was unable to keep up with the doubt that he must have himself harbored after what he and a lot of other people had seen when they arrived at the enigmatic ranch. He was no longer able to continue his struggle, to maintain a boundary that allowed him to remain grounded in reality. They were now going to have to perform additional research on the ranch. They were fortunate to have access to a doctor and a scientist who had ties to Area 51, who were eager to assist them in locating the source of the most pressing concerns regarding the paranormal and supernatural events that occurred on Ranch Skinwalker.
So Travis, tell me honestly, do you think I'm crazy?
Well, I think some of the stories are crazy. But just because the stories sound crazy doesn't mean that there's not something to it. So no, I don't think you're crazy, Brandon. I think it's intriguing is what I think.
As you can imagine, this wasn't going to be a straightforward journey for all those that were involved in the paranormal investigations that were taking place at the ranch. Before long, they soon found that they were going to have to carry out research as well as speculate over the happenings that the world struggled to explain. To their surprise, the doctors and the scientists found that each discovery only served to reveal another layer, and at some point, one couldn't blame them for starting to think that the mysteries surrounding Skinwalker Ranch may never come to an end. That said, this did not discourage these men. No, it seemed to give them even more drive to carry out even greater investigations into the mysteries that seemed to follow this strange place known as Skinwalker Ranch. One would find that all sorts of people got involved in this fascinating investigation of the unusual events that took place on Skinwalker Ranch. Even Cameron Fugal, Brandon Fugal's brother, got into the mix. Considered to be a skilled pilot and aviator, Cameron, along with his younger brother Matthew, were eager to partake in these investigations until they started to get creeped out by what they had witnessed on the ranch. Who could blame them, really? It's almost time to talk about how some people are able to review the stories, photographs, and various accounts of the things that may have taken place on Skinwalker Ranch without being too creeped out by what they were witnessing. Surely it's strange, no? Well, these stories seem to begin to have an effect on Brandon, who was starting to think that maybe it was time for him to review his role in the investigations that were taking place on the strange ranch. This was even though the investigations were becoming increasingly fascinating by the minute. They might have been on the cusp, who knows, of obtaining crucial responses concerning the events at Skinwalker Ranch. As a result, they could see how the ranch was changing into a significant research location for those looking for supernatural evidence and occult activities that might be taking place globally. Fortunately, they had a lot of experts that were utilizing the most cutting-edge technology that they had at their disposal for such a purpose. Therefore, the information gathered from these investigations could have a significant impact in navigating the nature's complexity of the alleged occurrences that is brought to Skinwalker Ranch for pickup. They considered what they could share as a result. The general public, especially with regard to the interviews and videos.
This is not to be taken lightly, and that's why we've kept the materials under lock and key.
I think you'll understand soon why this is a matter of really the highest level of seriousness and sensitivity.
These are hornets that you've never had to deal with before.
Hornets. All right. Well, I want to see them.
They were not trying to keep out what they were observing. They only desired to contribute to the larger discussion of science that appeared to arise when they were discussing such contentious topics. As a result, one could comprehend why a certain level of openness was necessary to conduct such scientific research on a subject that is so contentious. They needed to get it right, especially considering the complex nature of Skinwalker Ranch's story. It enters the realm of science fiction, experiments with anti-gravity. Also, a crossing point of a few different parts of the world that includes business, medicine, and religion. Sure, being frugal may come from a different place of the world as a result of his wealth. However, this did not imply that he could never figure out what was strange. That was going on in the enigmatic ranch. He has, in fact, made the best use of his time, a means by which he can discover the truth and let the rest of the world know about it. He has certainly encountered difficulties on his journey. Who else hasn't? It is hoped that he will continue to assist of S. Travis Taylor and the group so that they might eventually tell the truth regarding the circumstances surrounding the enigmatic Skinwalker Ranch, from the enigmatic events that transpire in this odd ranch, to the extent that the owner currently of the odd location would travel to reveal the truth. What the owner of Skinwalker Ranch has to say knows the truth about the enigmatic Skinwalker Ranch.